A very good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News. I'm Tracy Shilshi, and in the next 30 minutes I'll be getting you through the morning's top stories. Let's start with the headlines. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Jayalalitha critical after suffering cardiac arrest last evening. Team of specialists closely monitoring the situation. Security is stepped up outside the hospital as supporters gather after hearing the news. Amritsar declaration adopted after 6th Heart of Asia Ministerial Conference. Terrorism is recognized as the biggest threat to peace, and for the first time, terror outfits Lashkar-e-Toiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed are named. RBI to issue new 50 and 20 rupee notes soon. Old version of the notes will continue to be valid as well. IT department rejects 2 declarations made under the income tax scheme, begins probe. Italian Prime Minister Matteo Renzi quits after losing constitutional referendum. Renzi was promoting constitutional reforms that projected to speed up legislative work. And a surprise announcement by New Zealand Prime Minister John Key to quit. Cites family reasons and says right time to quit after 8 years in the job. Starting with the news coming in from Chennai, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Jayalalitha is said to be critical after she suffered a cardiac arrest on Sunday evening, and doctors at the Apollo Hospital in the city where she was admitted 2 months ago said that they were closely monitoring her condition and trying their best. The Chief Minister was in fact put on a heart assist device and is being treated by a team of expert doctors and critical care specialists. Apollo said that they have consulted Dr. Richard Beale from London on the line of treatment. Union Health Minister JP Nadda also spoke to the Apollo chairman and inquired about Jaya's health. Doctors from AIIMS in Delhi will be leaving for Tamil Nadu today to assist in the treatment. Following the news, a huge crowd gathered outside the hospital, many supporters breaking down inconsolably and praying for her speedy recovery. A massive police deployment was also made to control the crowd. Also, CRPF has been put on alert while all the roads leading to the hospital have been blocked since this morning. Karnataka too has temporarily suspended bus services to Tamil Nadu following a stone pelting incident. Remember, Jayalalitha was hospitalized on the 22nd of September after she complained of fever and dehydration.
We are in regular touch with the Apollo authorities in Chennai and at the same time with the Tamil Nadu government. Yesterday we got the information and they had requested for doctors from All India Institute of Medical Sciences and a team of doctors, Dr. Kilnani, Dr. Trikha, Dr. Narang and Dr. Talwar are leaving for Chennai, and they will be supporting there, and we pray to God that Jayalalitha ji resumes her duty and she becomes she would be good in health, and may God give her all strength to recover.
Well, JP Nadda, of course, leading a host of leaders, political leaders who've, of course, been tweeting about this, reacting about this since late last night evening, in fact, when the news came in. In fact, leading that, of course, is President Pranab Mukherjee. He expressed concern of the health of Jayalalitha in a tweet, saying that he's distressed to hear about a cardiac arrest. The president tweeted, and he is, in fact, praying for her speedy recovery. Also, Tamil Nadu governor, who is the governor of Maharashtra, rushed to Chennai and inquired about her health post-midnight. Earlier, Home Minister Rajnath Singh too spoke to the governor soon after news came in from Apollo Hospital in Chennai. Several union ministers also expressed concern about Jaya's health and prayed for her recovery. Jaya's political opponents in Tamil Nadu expressed hope that she will recover soon. In a tweet, Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi as well said that he is praying for Jayalalitha's quick recovery. He expressed hope that she will get better very soon. Several chief ministers and other top leaders also prayed for Jayalalitha's recovery. Helping us understand the situation further of what is developing, what perhaps we can look forward to in the day ahead, we've got Narayan Lakshman, Senior Deputy Editor with The Hindu, joining us on the phone line. Lakshman, the last time we spoke to you, there was no indication at all from Apollo Hospital on any medical bulletin. It's been over 12 hours now since anyone has heard anything about her health condition. And that's, of course, adding to the worry, especially among the supporters who've gathered outside there. Any indication of a medical bulletin? Some reports saying by noon is what we're going to hear.
Hi, Trish. Thanks for having me. And yes, there is an indication that people are expecting to hear sometime during the day. Although again, the comments that we were coming out of Apollo yesterday indicated that the situation was very tough, which again was a pointer to how critical her condition is at the moment. There are reports that she had, of course, had a procedure done as well early this morning, and that she, an AIADMK supporter or a spokesman, in fact, said that she was doing fine after that. So again, I would just caution that we have mixed reports, some more accurate on fact, some more speculative, and we can only, as you correctly said, wait for the next formal update from Apollo. There's no indication or announcement as to when that will come, but we are hopeful that there will be one during the course of the day, possibly in the afternoon.
We also understand roads to the hospital have now been blocked, definitely for security concerns, considering the amount of people that have gathered outside the hospital. Just saw in those visuals there. Since last evening, in fact, people have been gathering outside the hospital, some of them inconsolably, crying, sort of chanting as well that we heard in the night. But things have calmed down comparatively this morning, is what you were telling me earlier. But now the roads have been blocked, perhaps to avoid, more people coming in to those roads, is it?
Yeah, absolutely. So you should know that Greaves Road, where Apollo is situated, is on the arterial road of Anna Salai, or Mount Road as it used to be known. And any clogging of traffic there would certainly have a very rapid spillover effect on the surrounding streets, and could have implications for transport in the city. And so police are obviously thinking ahead and restricting traffic. In terms of actual risk of any sort of more violent episodes, we have seen nothing indicating that so far. As you correctly said, Ms. Jayalalitha, being the charismatic leader that she is since 1989, having multiple terms as the chief minister and a beloved leader of the people, she is viewed with great sense of not just reverence, but people are praying fervently for her recovery. And so the rain last night dispersed the crowds quite a lot, and today it has been entirely peaceful from all that we have seen. People, as I said, are just waiting for the next update, and at that point we should keep an eye on how the police manage the crowds, and whether things get out of hand or stay under control as they've been.
All right, we'll leave it there for now. Narayan Lakshman, thanks so much for joining us with those updates coming in from Chennai. We'll keep an eye out on the developments on that front. Meanwhile, in more national news, the 6th Heart of Asia Conference described terrorism as the biggest threat to peace, stability and cooperation in the region. Calling all states to take action against terrorist entities, the Amritsar Declaration was adopted, which mentioned terror groups like the Lashkar-e-Toiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed. Here's a report.
Combating terrorism was at the center of the Heart of Asia Conference. The Amritsar Declaration, adopted on Sunday, called for dismantling of terrorist sanctuaries and safe havens in the region. The declaration mainly mentions two groups targeting India, Lashkar-e-Toiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed, in addition to the Haqqani network. The day-long conference, however, could not create a consensus on road routes from Afghanistan to India and other South Asian countries that come from inside Pakistan. Pakistan insisted on accepting the China-led CPEC as a major network to connect countries of the regions, but was met with rejection from most of the nations. Chabahar Port has now been made the major transit point to Afghanistan.
The declaration recognizes terrorism as the biggest threat to peace and stability, and demands immediate end to all forms of terrorism and all support financing safe havens and sanctuaries to it. For the first time, a Heart of Asia Declaration expressed concern at the violence caused in Afghanistan and the region by terrorist groups like Al-Qaeda, Daesh, Lashkar-e-Toiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed, etc. Apart from calling for concerted international cooperation in this end,
we face similar problems, we face similar opportunities, and there are enormous opportunities. And I think our two leaders were able to very eloquently stress that this morning. But we also see in our region a very difficult problem of terrorism and violent extremism. We also see the problem of states nurturing and flirting with terrorism, which obviously not only has consequences for themselves, but also consequences for the region as a whole.
While Afghanistan also pushed for its proposal on how to counter terrorism in the region, it was not accepted due to lack of consensus, especially due to Pakistan's opposition. Therefore, there was no consensus on non-interference in the internal affairs of other countries. Afghanistan said it might not be easy in the near future to stop the menacing impact of violence and radicalization due to threats from the other side of the border. Akhilesh Suman's report from Amritsar for Rajya Sabha TV.
And in a clear message to Pakistan, India and Afghanistan jointly called upon member nations of the Heart of Asia to dismantle sanctuaries of terrorism. They joined hands in cornering Pakistan for inciting radicalization of youth in the region and for spreading terrorism in Afghanistan that has given rise to instability in regions beyond Afghanistan.
Afghan President Ashraf Ghani singled Pakistan out at the Heart of Asia Ministerial Conference in Amritsar on Sunday. Ghani minced no words in saying that there was no peace and stability in the country because of Pakistan's support to terrorists.
Pakistan is generously pledged $500 million for reconstruction of Afghanistan. This fund, Minister Aziz, could be very well used for containing extremism, because without peace, any amount of assistance will not meet the needs of our people.
A permanent chair of the Heart of Asia process, Afghan President Ghani also said Pakistan was providing sanctuaries to terrorists, and that in the name of fighting terrorism, Pakistan is only targeting selective groups of terrorist outfits.
In some, still provide sanctuary, in support or tolerate these networks. As Mr. Kakazada, one of the key figures in the Taliban movement, recently said, if they did not have sanctuary in Pakistan, they would not last a month.
Afghan President echoed the stand of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who had asked the world community to isolate Pakistan for its support to terrorists. Prime Minister Narendra Modi asked the Heart of Asia participants and supporters to strive for an Afghan-controlled process. He said very clearly that action should be taken against those who support terrorism.
And the growing arc of terrorist violence endangers our entire region. As such, support for Voices for Peace in Afghanistan alone is not enough. It must be backed by resolute action, not just against forces of terrorism, but also against those who support, shelter, train and finance them.
Both Prime Minister Modi and Afghan President Ghani asked Pakistan to provide a route from its territory for Afghanistan to help connect with the other South Asian and Southeast Asian countries. Prime Minister Modi declared that India would open air transport corridor to win over obstructions by Pakistan in the road route.
We also plan to connect Afghanistan with India through an air transport corridor. President Ghani and I have discussed additional measures for deepening our bilateral cooperation. We are making progress in developing plans for utilization of the additional $1 billion earmarked by India for capacity and capacity building in Afghanistan.
Agreement signed in Tehran between India, Iran and Afghanistan on the port of Chabahar is a major step in transforming Afghanistan from a landlocked country to a land bridge. Your words, assuring the Afghan people of the support of 1.25 billion strong Indian people, have been quickly matched by deeds, as demonstrated by your pledge of $1 billion.
Afghan President Ghani held bilateral talks on Sunday morning with Prime Minister Modi before inaugurating the Heart of Asia Ministerial Conference.
There could have been no major embarrassment for Pakistan when Afghan President Ashraf Ghani told in no unclear words that Mr. Sartaj Aziz, keep your $50 crore to yourself and use it to curbing terrorism and extremism in your country. It will be interesting to see how Pakistan reacts to it. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Sabha Television with camera person Manoj Kumar in Amritsar.
With that, a quick break here. We'll be back with more national and international news in a bit. Stay with us.
Gyan Chopper is the ancient version of Indian snakes and ladders. This intriguing game was popular among the old, the young, and the rulers as well. The chopper has its origin in the Jain philosophy. It tells the story of virtue, symbolized by the ladders, rewarded, while the vices shown by the snakes are punished. Each square, in turn, also narrates some message of wisdom.
Welcome back. Let's get you some more national news. And the Reserve Bank of India has announced that it would issue new 50 and 20 rupee banknotes, but it also said that the old versions of these notes will continue to be valid. The new 50 rupee notes won't have the inset letters in the number panels, and the new 20 rupee notes will have the inset letter L in both the number panels. And both new notes will bear the signature of RBI Governor Urjit Patel, and the year of printing 2016 will be mentioned on the reverse side of the notes. The RBI's announcement comes just weeks after the government scrapped the 500 and 1000 rupee notes on November 8th. The new version of the 500 note and the new 2000 rupee note have been issued since then. Meanwhile, the Income Tax Department has rejected two sets of declarations of 2 lakh crore rupees and 13,860 crore rupees made under the Income Declaration Scheme or IDS. These declarations were rejected after it was found that the declarants were persons of suspicious nature and very small means. The department has commenced inquiries against them to determine the intention behind these false declarations. A family of 4 from Mumbai made the declaration of 2 lakh crore rupees, whereas the other declarant was filed by a resident of Ahmedabad for an amount of 13,860 crore rupees. These declarations have been kept pending for probe and were not included in the total value of declarations announced on the 1st of October this year. Meanwhile, the revised figure of actual declarations is 67,382 crore rupees as against declarations totaling 65,250 crore rupees announced earlier. The scheme was announced by the government in June this year with an aim to bring out black money from the domestic economy. Those disclosing assets under the IDS will have to pay 45% tax with penalty. The payments can be made in 3 installments till September 2017. The first installment of 25% under the scheme was to be paid by November this year, followed by another installment of 25% by 31st of March next year, and the remaining amount to be paid by September 2017. International news now. In Italian Prime Minister Matteo Renzi has resigned after losing a constitutional referendum. He conceded defeat on Sunday before official results were announced, as exit polls showed he was heading for a heavy defeat. Renzi was promoting constitutional reforms which proposed to cut the number of senators from 315 to 100 and remove the Senate's right to hold votes of no confidence in the government. He was projected to save the country 500 million euros per year and speed up legislative work. Renzi would visit the Italian president today to formally hand in his resignation after a final meeting with the cabinet. His administration is expected to be replaced by a caretaker government until the next election due to take place in 2018.
Il no ha vinto in modo straordinariamente netto. Ai leader del fronte del no le mie congratulazioni, il mio augurio di buon lavoro nell'interesse del Paese, nell'interesse dell'Italia e degli italiani.
And in a shocking announcement, New Zealand Prime Minister John Key resigned as the Prime Minister, saying that it was the right time to quit after 8 years in the job. Key cited family reasons for leaving, saying that the job had required great sacrifices from those who were dearest to him. In an emotional message, Key said that the time was right for him to resign, adding that it was an opportunity to refresh the National Party's leadership for the country for a 4th term. Key's resignation would be effective from next week after his party's MPs will select a new leader. Deputy Prime Minister Bill English is said to be seen as a favourite to take over from Key.
Oh, I think back your instincts. You operate as Prime Minister not with perfect information all the time. It would be great if you did, but unfortunately hindsight has taught me that things evolve, and as stories evolve, there's always information you didn't find out straight away and you didn't know. But I think most of all, the public are amazingly forgiving of all of that, as long as they look in your eyes and they believe you. And I think particularly television shows your heart, and I think in the end, if you're trying to do the right thing, they'll cut you a lot of leeway.
News from Syria, and at least 46 people have been killed in rebel-held parts of the country on Sunday as the government forces advanced in fierce clashes in Idlib province of East Aleppo city. Syrian government has so far captured more than 60% of eastern districts that fell to rebels in 2012. Britain-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights Monitor on Sunday said that Russian airstrikes had killed 26 civilians in the town of Kafr Nabel, while 18 people were killed in Marit al-Numan. Syrian army also recaptured a major road leading to Aleppo International Airport. The army lost control of the strategic motorway to rebels 4 years ago. It also dropped leaflets asking rebels to hand over their weapons and surrender, as well as assuring civilians and injured citizens that they can leave. More than tens of thousands of residents have fled so far. And here's a look at what else is making news across the world in World Wrap. Cubans bid final goodbye to revolutionary leader Fidel Castro on Sunday, bringing an end to the 9 days of national mourning. Thousands paid their last respects at Castro's final resting place in Santiago de Cuba, from where he began his political journey. Castro died last month at the age of 90. In the U.S., the death toll from a fire at a California warehouse where a party had been taking place rose to 30 today. Authorities said that it had in fact searched only a small part of the two-story building, which was gutted and left unstable by the inferno late Friday night. There's still more work to be done, and there are fears of finding more victims after digging deeper into the building. Iran has warned the United States against extending sanctions, saying that it would be a clear violation of the Iran nuclear deal. This after the US Senate voted to extend the Iran Sanctions Act by 10 years last week. The pact, signed last July between Iran and 6 world powers, lifted sanctions in exchange for limits on Iran's nuclear program. However, the US still maintains its own set of sanctions, which will expire on the 31st of December if President Obama does not sign the extension into law. All right, changing tracks, some cricket action, and the Indian women's team lifted the Asia Cup 2020 tournament after defeating arch rivals Pakistan by 17 runs in the final played at Bangkok on Sunday. Opting to bat, India posted 121 for 5 in 20 overs, riding on opener Mithali Raj's unbeaten 73. The bowlers then bowled brilliantly to limit Pakistan to 104 for 6, completing a comprehensive 17-run win. The star with the ball once again was left-arm spinner Ekta Bish, who took 2 wickets, conceding 22 runs in her 4 overs. It was the second time that India got the better of Pakistan in the competition, having beaten them by 5 wickets in the league stage, besides remaining unbeaten in 5 games en route to the final. And here's some more sporting action in Sports Beat. India's women's doubles pair of Ashwini Ponnappa and N.Sikki Reddy finished as runners-up at the Welsh International Challenge badminton tournament. The duo lost 21-16, 21-11 to the top-seeded Russian pair of Olga Morozova and Anastasia Cherekov in the final that lasted 37 minutes. This was the pair's second tournament together, following Ponnappa and Jwala Gutta's split. 51-year-old Indian golfer Mukesh Kumar became the oldest golfer to win an Asian Tour title after lifting the Panasonic Open on Sunday. Mukesh, who has 123 PGTI titles under his belt, won his first ever title on the Asian Tour in the form of the Panasonic Open. Indian golfers Jyoti Randhawa and Rashid Khan shared the second position. The UAE Royals overcame the Indian Aces 30-20 to win their International Premier Tennis League matchup in Saitama in Japan and move up to top of the IPTL standings. The Royals were inspired earlier by Switzerland's Martina Hingis, who blew past the Aces' Kristen Flipkens of Belgium 6-4 in the women's singles, before combining with Uruguay's Pablo Cuevas to see off Indian pair of Sania Mirza and Rohan Bopanna in the mixed doubles. A penalty scored by Leighton Baines in the 89th minute of the match earned a draw for Everton against Manchester United at the Goodison Park on Sunday. United had taken the lead in the 42nd minute with Zlatan Ibrahimovic's chip goal before Marwan Fellaini gave away a penalty 1 minute from full time. That's all we have for you on the Breakfast News. Thanks for joining us.